I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting everyone. We call the meeting to order.
Page here, Walsh
Here.
Peters here, Shoulders
Here.
Wolfersberg
Here.
Cummings.
Here.
The first thing we have is the recognition of Lowell's 38 years of service as the zoning administrator. Can you come up here or?
Sure.
Back there to you. Max, I've signed a proclamation here. Yeah, we got it going on. Proclamation honoring Lowell Suits for 38 years of service as the zoning administrator. Whereas Lowell Suits has faithfully served the village of St. Joseph as its zoning administrator for 38 years. You got to give you credit for that. Whereas throughout his tenure, Lowell has demonstrated steadfast dedication to the development and orderly growth of our village. And whereas Lowell's commitment to public service has ensured that zoning decisions were made with fairness and a deep respect for its residents and long-term vision in the community. Whereas his decades of knowledge and institutional memory have been a valuable resource to staff, elected officials, and residents alike. And whereas Lowell's service has contributed to the character and quality of life that define St. Joseph today, leaving a legacy of community stewardship. Whereas the village of St. Joseph is grateful for the contributions Lowell has made during his years of service and wishes to formally recognize his retirement from this important role. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and our entire community, we do now express our sincere appreciation for his 38 years as zoning administrator and wish him happiness in his retirement. Thank you. I haven't been here very long. I've only been here 14 weeks, so we haven't had a chance to interact much, but I invited Tammy, who did work with you for many, many years.
Thank you very much for all of your hard work. So I was great working with you the years that I did as a trustee and as a mayor. Thank you.
Went through a lot of secretaries, didn't we? I wouldn't have had all this done without the secretaries and mayors, three mayors, and first one that was sitting in the office was Charlene Deuceman, I think, and now Debbie and Lisa have it, but, and I thank Nora for helping me put this resignation together. And all the past board members have treated me great. It's like Joe's been a good addition to her. He's helped me out a lot, and I've tried to teach him a few things too.
I'm sure he's appreciated that. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Here you go. I'll tell you about why don't I just get back here. Doing that. How many houses?
Well,
In St. Joe?
there are a couple years where we're averaging almost 100 houses a week, I mean, a month.
That's a
Yeah,
you've been thousands
well,
visits over.
yes, it wasn't a month, it was a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, work over the day, and there was nights I'd home. I had to go to my son's baseball game, it was dark out there, maybe. But I think we did a good job of lining stuff up out there.
We certainly appreciate all the work, and hopefully we'll be you up for advice. Everyone.
Well, you know, we can do that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
You know,
Again,
Lowell, I would
thank
like to, I know you tremendous because we joke around with each other and we have so much fun. So you've been so special to me. Right?
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good writer book.
The second,
Yes.
There you go.
Keep looking every day and I don't watch. Public, is there anybody here, anybody signed up for public comment?
My name is Adam Marcotte. I'm from Indiana, but I came today because I submitted a bid from an new business, the stump grinding. So I just wanted to make myself available to the board if you guys have any questions or concerns.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody? We, this is a minute, treasurer's report, recommendations, approval, bills, the amount $240,689. And 2 resolutions approving motor fuel, transportation funds to mill and resurface South Water, West Evergreen, and oil and chip, West Evergreen, right? Are there any
Oil chip throughout the community.
or oil and chip throughout the community, right? So I know the West Evergreen issue has been on folks' minds, especially the folks that live down there. I know it's been difficult for them during this construction of the sewer plant, but we hoped that we would get started in August, and once we approve this, we're well on the way to getting that fixed. So are there any questions among the board members on any of the consent agenda items?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Any further discussion?
Wall,
Yes.
Peters, Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
motion passed 4-1 abstention.
The first, new business item. The Champaign Environmental Stewards, that's right. From last meeting, I believe, and did your presentation. We kind of put it off until tonight, and if there's any some members about whether we wanted to make a donation or table it for a future date, or what do you want to do?
I'd like to make a motion that we table that for a future date. We have a lot of heavy budget items coming forward. And I just think that it's not that we don't agree and believe in what you're doing. We're just, I feel like we're not in a position to make a decision about that right now. I'm not saying that we're not going to, but we could let you know in the future, like if that's something that can come forward and we would like to consider it again. So I would like to make that motion that we table it until we kind of sort through some of our budget stuff that we've got.
Mark, can I ask for her?
For anything.
Okay.
You don't have to read, but you can ask her what you
Like,
want.
before the end of the year or so. So it's not just, so you know that there is a date that we're going to make a decision. Like December 31st or
Okay.
the end of the year, or
Why don't we do that first in January? First of the year.
after the first meeting after the first year?
Oh.
Okay,
Awesome. I agree, just based on the spending that we have going. Seeing a lot of. I mean, it's a good thing. I just want to make sure that we have a set dollar amount so we can agree on that. It's a good. Or something else that we need to do.
anyone else? Okay. Have a motion and a second.
Sure.
Yeah.
Should sit here and pretty.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wolfersberger,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Walsh.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. We will get back to you for sure.
I'll just say one thing, thank you very much for considering this, I look forward to hearing back. I just want to mention that this is a pledge option as well, you can divide it into 2 or 3 payments.
Right.
Just to make it less,
Okay.
less of a strain.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you stopping.
All right.
Thank you. Next item is consideration and possible approval of bids to provide sanitary sewer lateral connection for East Sherman. When the original sewer lines was put in, correct me if I'm wrong here, we did the mains. From the mains to the house was the homeowner's responsibility. This particular lot was a double lot with one house on it, right? So now that's separated. A lateral was never run to the separate lot. And so now somebody's bought that and they need service. The problem being that the main line runs down the opposite side of the street, so we're gonna have to dig up the street, get a sewer line. And then the developer, the house builder will have to get it for the sidewalk or wherever that needs to their house.
Was it always 2 lots or did they subdivide it?
They just subdivided it about 2 years ago.
And
It was
in
the-
their agreement to subdivide?
No. That's.
Should be,
Right.
to the future, we sign that additional.
Do we need an
should
ordinance
be
for that?
Shared.
I don't know the answer to that.
We can look at.
Can we put, when we in the future subdivide village, a vacant, like the lot that have on it, put a on that in order to pay for all the connection fees to any lines or
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can put it in place at any point in time that you want, so within a year after it's been subdivided or upfront. Or, a lot of communities are doing it when they build them. Just so that they can get a developer to do the development.
I heard him say is we can do it now.
I mean, they're building,
Okay.
that's the. And I agree, we probably top this on the. You know, I guess when we're thinking about, it shouldn't be, I don't know. The idea. Of, yeah, that's I think it'd be fair.
And if we have double lots developed like that. Let the lot owner know that if they ever divide it in the future,
There's that cost.
there's that cost
It's not-
instead of ours.
Yeah.
But it is a barrier development, if you're desperate for development, additional costs, so if you're talking about revising in the first place, then. You know, we just gotta weigh that, but.
I'm assuming that we don't have a ton of these lots in town that can be subdivided. It's not like we're looking at.
No, I don't, I mean,
That's our. Yeah.
there was one on West Evergreen that the public works director and I talked about, and they got quotes on that. Looked at it, and it was, in the high. It's or that would be enough. Like. A separate lot, I don't know what.
Been there since here.
Yeah, I don't know if there ever was a house on it. I don't think there was, obviously. But, anyway, so that's another one, but I can't really.
Spending that for something, then brings in more. Sales opportunities and I see that spending, it's like a future growth positive, it's just hard to kind of swallow when your
Yeah.
hands are tied and you have to do it, but.
It is, yeah.
No. So here to approve that bid.
Some of
I'll second.
Childers.
Cross construction one.
It's that-
Yeah.
yes,
A little bit.
that's the low bid, right?
Abstain.
Yes. Bids to provide some driving services at various locations in the village. Do you want to? Joe?
So. The village has planted an enormous amount of trees in our parkway. And those create a lot of beauty, but they also create a lot of maintenance expense and potentially, nuisance and things of that nature. Now one of those is just stumps from whenever trees back come down over the years. It's just part of a maintenance path that we take on when we plant in the public way, so. This is what it would cost to contract these services out, so. There's a low bid of $6,250 by Henry Tree and then landscape. We apparently have a bidder here to welcome and ask the gentleman question that you want, but I'm happy to answer anything too.
It was kind of hard to do that on paper.
Oh, that would faded.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's is there a part on there you'd like to see in particular? Like it's on my screen on the.
no, I
versions.
just kind of missed up the. Thank you for drawing.
How many stumps are we looking at?
6. Well, this says 16, but maybe I'm.
And 17.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Sorry. Hear you with,
A10,
excuse me?
A10, I would say that 400, why not?
Yeah, and I'm just questioning the $6,000 bid then, so,
Yeah.
what, I'm just wondering what's. It's 6,000,
Yeah, but more stuff.
I'm not talking about the number of stumps, I'm talking about what's one person doing that one person's not, if that's the case, I
think a big bulge in the grass not growing, you might as well just keep the stump. So I don't know how anybody could get to $6,000. And do a good job.
necessarily now.
I was sorry to interrupt you, trustee Walsh. So you can just clarify the vendor that you want to go with as well. I was
With the low.
That's the account.
And that would get,
Country and landscape.
yeah, the county tree.
The other one was Baxter Utility for $81.90.
So in the past, and this is different stumps or different trees. We had some issues with some people with trees. And, I think there was some confusion in all of that. So, I mean, can we get that clarified before to make sure that we're all talking about this, that they're talking about the same thing for the $6,000 or, I mean, what do we need? Was that in your time, the tree stuff that we had?
They all do list and say like proposed to grind 16 stumps at locations given throughout town, grind the stump clean, back that with dirt and put grass seed down, not responsible for watering afterwards. I mean, they're very similar, surface. Roots and stumps down.
Okay, I just can't read the one that we're bidding on.
That's the one that I just.
Okay, thank you.
you want to.
No, I don't.
The A10 one, he talks about cutting down trees. So are we cutting down trees and grinding stumps?
The way I understood this was we were just stumps. We were not cutting trees down.
Can I answer that? Wait. The cutting part is there are several stumps that are still sticking 2 feet out of the ground.
Okay.
So it's more economical to cut that 2 foot off as low as you can get it before you start grinding. That's all that is. There are some, I imagine that the other bidders didn't go look at the sites Because there are at least 5 stumps that are over 4 foot wide and one is 8 foot wide. From side to side. And that 8 footer I quoted at 3,000 by itself. It's 2.5 days of work on that side alone. What's that?
I mean, why is it being in our best interest that they didn't go look at it? They didn't do their due diligence, I mean, it is
Perhaps,
under
yeah.
responsibility to make sure that.
Perhaps.
I just need a motion if you all are okay with, where the bids are presented. Wolfersberger,
I'll stay.
Cummings,
Yes.
Walsh. Yes. Peters,
No,
Childers.
Yes.
Okay, motion pass. 3 to 1 to 1 abstain.
Next one is consideration of bid proposal for the installation of lighting and the purchase of applicable fixtures. Bid is $12,000. And we have bids on this as well.
It'll be $15,000 more than what our $110,000 donation was. If you choose to move forward, we'll just pay for it the way that we pay for all of the overages in the Parks and Recreation Department, which is from the general fund. If you do this, I would just encourage you that we need to address the revenue side in Parks and Recreation, and we'll be having future conversations about that, but anyway, we can do it. Yeah, I don't know if the rebate for this will still be here next year, or there's no guarantee it could be there. I just don't anticipate it being better by any means. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. MX Electric for all 3 bids. Both the total wound up being the lowest. One of the locations, they were a little bit higher on one of the locations. So we can either keep it with one vendor or split up per location if we want. It doesn't, either way, it's fine.
I would just like to continue to have conversations about taking the money from the general fund to take care of these kinds of things. Is this a must? Is it a must that we must take care of these right now? Are they failing? Are they not safe?
It's the bolts, right? That you can't get the old bolts.
Yeah.
Bulbs or bolts?
Bolts, sorry.
Yeah,
They're can lights, right? Is that what they're called?
it's it's a, oh my gosh, there's a word for it, but they have to warm up basically. And I can't think of the name of those off the top of my head, but you just can't buy them anymore. So they're basically going through a process of just salvaging the old ones. And then when one goes out, going up and Frankenstein them together, so to speak. But then eventually, we won't be able to do that long term, so it'll have to be upgraded at some point, but
Are they all working right now?
currently, but they're pretty, they're older, so, and
As a reminder, the 110,000 of this came from the solar field north of 74. Their intent was to have something done capital wise at the park. As opposed to throwing it in the general fund and us paying bills with it.
Right.
So that was previous board, right? That happened at the previous board. Or was that our? That's our board.
very just board.
The very first meeting.
And this is something that we are going to have to replace at some point in time because we can't keep getting other ones. So just one of the things where like if we have this solar money to use there, it makes sense to do that big expensive thing that we're eventually gonna have to do anyway.
Yes, and to that point, when the parks were built 20-some years ago. Those lights were gonna be not useful at some point. Which speaks to the revenue issue. So we didn't have the money there to pay for it 20 years ago, so now we're just continuing the cycle of. Robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, it needs to be done, it's like, I think the maintenance is justifiable. For sure, it's always the question of, are we gonna pay for it or are we not?
I'm gonna pay less in power bills. Cause your LEDs.
Yes. Yes,
Why is it $15,000 more than the 110?
all of it, so you have the contractor was 55,000, and then the lights total after the rebate was applied was 69,934. The other rebate, if we keep them on year round, was $35,000, but I don't think that makes a ton of sense, just because you'll eventually cannibalize all those savings by keeping them on year
I don't
round.
even really agree with the dusk to dawn. That's, I mean, I could see putting lights like in the parking lot area for like a safety issue, cause I mean, there's sometimes questionable vehicles parked out there. But like having the field lights on dusk to dawn, like even in the summertime, I mean, there's some houses that I know that even at my house where I face the park, you could probably read a book in my backyard, and like the house is even over on Hawthorne takes some of that light. So I think that that's a discussion that we will have to have whenever it's done too, is pointing them, directing them, so to speak. So I mean, dusk to dawn would be not ideal.
No, I totally agree.
So I mean, year round seems even crazier dusk to dawn.
Yeah, leaving them on would eat up your power bills.
That's what, when I read that, I was like,
And shorten the line.
why would we want that lit like that all the time?
I don't think we would, that's why I kind of made that a non.
Okay.
Starter.
I remember, when I read that at first, I was like, wow,
I know, yeah, it is wild, it is wild.
okay.
So do we already have the light bulbs? Bulbs,
We haven't purchased them yet, no.
where are those going?
It used to be Springfield, now it is, Echo.
Well, I was thinking,
And they've been great to work with, and they're actually, the gentleman I've been working with is gonna come in and meet with me, and we're gonna go over, some of the other rebate options and limits that we might be a match for. I'm still getting information on the street light portion that we discussed in the past, but, I don't know the answers on that yet, but anyway, he's gonna come in a little bit.
When Steve coming in, can we table this and for one more meeting or something that will you have met with that individual by our next meeting, or is that?
It's not gonna change
It
this.
won't change that, I mean, as far as rebates go.
No, this is rebates the best you're gonna get for these lights. The point, he's gonna talk about everything else that we have that we pay, like we pay like, $80 a month roughly for the welcome sign as an example, that type of thing. So there's just expenses like that we're taking a fine tooth comb, yes.
It's a watch fire sign?
No, the welcome sign that we have the LED lights on.
Oh, there's lights. on.
Yeah, that's in the Ameren. The Ameren bill, but it's.
$1,000 a year.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, so, but that's the type of thing, he's gonna come in and look through the bills with me, and we're just gonna review and see if there's any other options for us. This is the best for this particular power bill. Is what I'm saying, I don't think it matters if he. I'm not gonna get anything else from him.
But the bid that we're looking at is like the installation and the work being done, like the bulbs that are going in, the fixtures are separate.
It's,
It's in,
yeah,
it's
so,
in the other portion.
It's all the 115.
Right, but what we're looking at right now to agree on is the awarding the bids.
for both, I have in the packet the LED lights, the invoice for it.
I think it's on page 10.
As well as the bids for the electrical contractor.
Yeah, they're all.
They're these are on, sorry.
It's a, yeah.
And so if you do what I was suggesting, if you want to divvy up the work for the contractor, I don't really, it doesn't matter to me. The So if we did though, give it all to MX Electric, that would be $55,100. And if you did the lights with the $7,000 rebate, not the $35,000 rebate, your total bill would be $69,934.90. So the two of those together, you're looking at $125,334.90. And if you look at that in comparison to the $110,000 revenue we got, we're overdrawn, so to speak, by 15,000, which that overdrawn just means that we're gonna take it from the general fund. Per the usual arrangement. we'll make
Unless
in the-
we did 2 fields now and waited on the 3rd field.
We could do that,
And
and,
continue
but,
frames, like taking the bulbs that we have down off of 2 of them and keep using them until we're out.
but that is totally fine, it's just we gotta use the money up at some point, the donation money.
Okay.
So there will be a little bit left, so I don't know, we could come up with some ideas for how we can.
I like that idea better.
Sorry, I just do, I'm sorry to
There's
say
no-
that out loud, but.
No free lunch.
There's no, there's no such.
No, I know, yeah.
It is a cost saving help to us when it's something that we're going to have to do anyway. It just doesn't, I don't like to be feeling like we're
So-
pushed to do this.
If you had, so I think if you're sitting here and we're talking about, we don't want to spend the money, which I don't. I've been harping that since I've been here 4 years ago, basically, on the Parks and Recreation part. But if you were to step back and say, okay, what if we did have a revenue source for Parks and Recreation? We wouldn't be having this conversation about the money, you know what I mean? We would be able to plan this into like a capital improvement program. And we would have just done this as part of a plan. So we're sitting here struggling. That's what the natural struggle is that we're comparing, what are we gonna use that money in the general fund for? Or are we gonna use it for parks? That's the constant struggle we have because parks doesn't stay on its own.
And if we keep taking from the general fund, it's just gonna keep on down.
Find a way to start funding those things
If,
separately.
if we did, what I'm hearing is if we do 2 fields. Do we know which 2 fields, and does that change who the low bidder is?
Well, and then what will it cost to do the 3rd field later? I got it. I'm just trying to
Right.
work through some options that we have.
It
Make
just
sure that we're not
depends
just
on
making
what
a
fields are
decision
taken, if you're
immediately.
doing ball diamond 4 and one of the other ones, then. Yeah, that might change, they're roughly equal, but if you're doing all the fields.
My preference would be do the ones that are all gathered together,
So
I
they're,
would say,
so that they're all the same.
so MX quoted 1, 2, and 3.
but
That was a typo. He put 34 fixtures, which is what Ball Diamond 4 has. If you look there, he clarified the fixture number.
then this one has 18 pictures. So
Yeah, so what, so the Diamond 3, what's the deal with that one?
This one was already done. That's the one on the north. I'm sorry, the east side of the concession stand. It's done.
Oh, it's already been done.
This was done. That was done.
After that storm.
You're right, after the storm, so it's done. So we just got 3 left. Now, I will tell you, this is not me like saying I'm defending this or anything like that, so please don't take it that way. There's a little dynamic between like softball and baseball, like we'll only ever take care of the other one. If we did, I mean, probably want to be. So ball diamond 3 is, I'm trying to think softball or. Is it? I can't-
Three is typically
Typically baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you count that as a baseball, then you would wanna, you know,
One that's a softball.
1 and 2, I mean, I played, my daughter played softball on 1 and 2 in
okay.
the past.
I was just saying, I've heard that feedback before from each team talking about each other, that, you know,
They do.
And I have a problem doing them all, this is something that we're gonna have to do anyway, and this, but is this going to have some go away?
I don't have faith that it'll be there next year, I just, we can't bank on it.
We're not like pushed. Just like, we wanna do this before the rebates are gone.
I mean, just can't guarantee the rebates will be there. They might be, I don't wanna, yeah. There's nothing. If you do that, you take the 15 from the general fund to do it. I would just ask that you do it with the mindset of, we're gonna find a revenue source for this, but. You know what I mean, like, we're doing it, but we're gonna find a way to pay for this thing, that's all I would ask, is to have that mindset with it.
There's other things that could be done at the park too. I mean, obviously more money could be spent up there as well. So if you can find a funding source or fundraising option or something to make it even better, I think everybody would.
So if we, hypothetically, we give all this to Enix Electric because there was a little bit. Keep it separately, with each field getting a lift rental. So my question is are we gonna pay 3 lift rentals?
No, he,
One.
He said we would not.
And then, so that would cut down $5,600 off of the total. So now we're down to under 10,000 that we are taking from the general fund in that.
And the cost.
So,
Just get it done.
so a lot better than looking at 15. But
That's what I think we should do.
Just get it
All
done.
of it can be done.
So can we continue to have conversations, and I don't necessarily need tonight, but that we can figure out some revenue sources, some ways. Maybe, I mean, I think it's gonna have to come from us. I don't think the parks people are, I mean, they come in and they ask for money, and the first question I say is, what have you done to do fundraising or whatever? We haven't done anything. I mean, I know it's a different world, but my husband and I worked the ball fields all the time for our kids. My husband helped install sprinkler systems, we cleaned up, we did concession stand, we did all of that. So I don't know what goes on out there, I'm just telling you what I did, and so that's what I know. And so can we just, I mean, I don't disagree that it needs to be done, it's the piece of taking from the general fund, and can we continue to have conversations to figure out how we can not keep doing that?
It has to be a priority. It has to be a priority.
I think it's a huge asset to the village.
I don't
We have it. I just agree. I agree that we can find other ways to do some things to even potentially make that.
All they just want to do is talk about it. Shut up.
That needs to be done.
Is there a motion?
Motion. For all 3. Discount on.
Do we need a separate motion to transfer money from general fund to Parks and Record? Is that, if I do this, we could do it.
Right.
Well, you can put in motion where the money's coming from. 2 in 1.
yeah, that's fine. To cover any shortages.
Still modified.
Yes.
But that's also including the purchase of the bulbs too.
That does include that, yes.
Yes.
Second it.
Cummings,
we're gonna sort of the bulbs, NX Electric,
So it ended up being 1 tab.
yes.
The bulbs with the lower rebate option, but not desperate on,
Yes.
just the seasonal. So, yeah, so I'll wait.
All that down like that.
We'll look at you two later.
Cummings, you said yes.
Yes, I did say yes.
Okay, Walsh,
Well,
Yes.
Peters,
well, it's true.
Yes.
Childers,
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes.
Motion passed 5.
All right. Moving right along. First reading, the amended appropriations.
I was mistaken. I thought I'd have to do some sort of publication again for the amended appropriations ordinance, and that was wrong. So this is just a first reading. If you have questions, if you're okay with it, that'd be great to say. If you're not, that'd be great to say too, but the plan is bring it back at the second meeting in August for approval or rejection.
Right, so then we just pass on that.
Does it, do you have questions, or do you want anything to add, or to ask clarification of what we're doing? I have the answer, yes, we'll do approval next meeting.
A resolution appointing zoning administrator, since we had one walk out of here earlier, retired, and the formal establishment of a community development department. Where Joe jumps in, this is something that I've wanted to kind of get refocused on with the advent of the TIF and potentially enterprise zone and increased work that we're doing on attracting businesses and folks to town. There may be an increase in this sort of this need. We also continue to have, and he spends a lot of time on, and eventually we're going to have to, in the proposal, get somebody to replace an old, or you're going to replace an old, get somebody who's focused on nuisances
And processing permits.
processing permits. Nuisances take up a lot of time. And we've got people calling us all the time. I get emails and Facebook messages about this house or that house or this property or that property that are, you know, violating the various nuisance ordinances or have building safety issues or stuff like that. It's nonstop. So
Basically, that person would just be responsible for doing the paperwork, sending out the notices, talking with them, explaining why they can't have 20 tires in their front yard and the hot sun, those types of things that just eat up a lot of time. And then ultimately they'll have to do the same thing that we do, is we, you know, have an attorney send the notices and actually prosecute those nuisance violations. But they're to help with the administrative side, somebody that I can train to be professional and engage with people in a professional way, but firm. Then also with the permits and stuff, if we have any level of building, you know, there's just the time associated with that, and I'm happy to do you know, permits and stuff, but it definitely would be useful at some point, especially if the scale goes up. But that's not something that's going to happen until you know, we're going into the slow season with permits and nuisances because it's winter, so there's going to be a delay on this. It's not like it's going to happen tomorrow, but
save us a little money if we don't hire till spring. But and then Joe's already basically the administrator for the zoning board, keeping them squared away, coming to all those meetings and making sure they have the documentation they need, run the hearings appropriately. So throwing it out there.
Well, I like the idea that we're not gonna do till spring because of the season, and that's gonna save us a little bit of money, so. And then maybe help us to get prepared, to hit the ground running when we do, to help relieve things from you. That you can be working on other things.
Yeah, we'll put together a job description and salary and see where we can fit that in.
So we have to start somewhere.
we'll
Head.
Well, and then we also, when we did the salary ranges, we did a wage and benefit analysis back last year. And so this was one of the positions that we outlined all of our positions have ranges now. And so I'm comfortable with the ranges and stuff. This would be a part-time position as the work justifies it, to not exceed 29 hours on average.
And it would cost a little bit more than like, let's say like the just permits, but then you're taking care of too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Motion. We need to motion to look at it after the.
No, just the motion to approve the resolution is fine.
Motion.
Sorry, I'm glad.
It's 72,
Yeah, I didn't-
not 12, 72.
Yeah, I mean, the last one. We have a zoning administrator. Officially in Instead of unofficially doing, Joe's officially gonna be the zoning administrator. And then spring of 2026, hire a permanent code enforcement technician. Or Tom.
Second.
Second.
Sure.
Let's see. Walsh,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Childers, Wolfersburg,
Yes.
Cummings.
Yes.
Motion passed, 5-0.
All business, none. Village administrator. Pending zoning application, public hearing. This is a zoning hearing, right? August 21st
Yep, and then it'll be,
and 26th.
yep, unless they continue after their hearing. So that's gonna be a little bit complicated. We also have, everything comes in twos, so we have 2 subdivision requests that, there'll be some action next meeting, and then we'll be working on that throughout the winter. So that's coming as well. If you have any questions, let me know, but other than that, that's all I got.
Who's the one for next year? Where's the subdivision for the next?
We have one that's in our,
Meeting.
Stay tuned.
one's in the extra jurisdictional boundary with, the last name Frick. And then one is the village property that we own north of the sewer plant. So we're starting those processes, and then, potentially a third. So fingers crossed. So.
Did we ever, just kind of a random question, did we ever, discuss in the extra jurisdictional approvals requiring a pre-annexation agreement? Can we do that?
100% you can. Then you get to set policy as to when you do it or not. Normally, if you've got somebody that's a mile out. And it's an area where you're never gonna reach to it, and all they're doing is breaking off one lot off of farm, not worth it. You're paying me to write it up, and it ain't worth it. Because you could only have, the annexation agreement can't go longer than 20 years. So if you know you're gonna reach that property within that time frame, then slam dunk, got a great idea.
But if it's a dozen homes and it's a quarter mile away, it might be worth
100% you do it. And you require them to comply with your subdivision ordinance, because you're gonna eventually inherit that.
We're already doing that. That's gonna be here. Yeah, so,
good. Well, that's,
and they're agreeable.
But you can decide not to do it too, by the way,
Right.
but common sense suggests maybe, think about doing that.
yeah.
That's kind of the generic sense that I've gotten on how we want to approach it.
Okay. Is there anything else we can do to George? Joe, you have anything? Mark? Mike?
Talk me out.
Talk them out. All right, is there a motion to adjourn? I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Walk out.
Are you going to